think technology is a contributing factor in isolating people?
I do. I mean, I'm of the idea that I think the internet and technology is bringing the world together in a beautiful way. But it's also very scary in a lot of ways because, I mean, the average age for a kid to see hardcore pornography is 9 years old. And, I mean, I saw a beheading when I was like 12. I mean, you see stuff online that's very scary. But then there's also these beautiful sides of things, you know, social networking and being able to be influenced by things you would never see in your life, you know, whether it's a film or a short or a book or I mean, there's just so many things that technology brings, but there's also these horrifying sides of it. And it also, Dr. Elaine Leader, who works at Cedars-Sinai, she gave a great explanation of it, which is that everything is so immediate now. You know, if I want to get a hold of a friend, I can get a hold of my friend in a second with my phone. If I want to buy something, I go online. If I want to yell at somebody, I can yell at somebody. If I want to text something angry, I mean, everything is very immediate. But if you're 14 years old and you're used to that immediate thing and you have some kind of pain, like some kind of hurt that is really upsetting you, or your parents kick you out of your house for being gay, or you break up with a boyfriend or girlfriend and something really hurts, you are used to that, like, immediate satisfaction. And it's true, like, I know I am. I'm very, I crave that. I get very upset if I don't have, like, immediate satisfaction with something. And so if a kid's going through that and they don't see any end to their pain and they want something immediate, you know, there's nothing more immediate than suicide. And
now, speaking of accidental death, David Carradine has intruded on your film in a bizarre way.
Yeah.
He's in your movie.
Yeah.
He's very good in it. And he's no longer with us, and this is bringing us a strange kind of attention to the film.
Well, if you've seen the film, you know, when you watch the movie, there's a very odd vibe over the whole thing right now. The first line that David says to the camera is, the call of death is the call of love, which is just a very odd thing, especially with, you know, the story with him. To tell you the truth, the first couple days where it had come out that he had killed himself, I got really, really depressed. I was just extremely depressed.
You liked him?
I liked him personally, but a lot. He was a good guy. But because I had sat with him for 3 years in the edit room, and I'd known him as this wise sage who kind of knew everything. You know, he was like the all-knowing, you know, in our film, he gives the real message of the film. You know, if you want to kill yourself, kill a part of you that's just about you and no one else. Kill Narcissus. Like this whole wonderful message to our film. And when I'd heard he had killed himself, it left me with this hopeless pit in my stomach that was like, well, if he can't do it, how can I do it?
Now, do you think he did kill himself? That doesn't seem to be the case.
I mean,
intentionally.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe a few days don't know if I could comment on it. I don't know if I still should, but I don't think he did. I mean, the man was very. He did our film because he believed in the subject of the film, you know, and he said it on set and talked about it. We have these interviews. I think we're going to be releasing them at some point. I'm not quite sure. Where he talks about, you know, the fact that there's a lot of pain in the world, and, you know, if you're young and you're struggling, you know, suicide is. I mean, that's why he did the film. And he's a very youthful guy. Loved music and was a very, you know, young, spirited type dude. And if you know David and you've been around David Carradine, the idea of him, like, giving up and killing himself, or him being in some, like, weird, freaky, like, I don't know, you know, whatever David was going on, that makes a lot more sense to me. I don't know all the details, but he did not seem like a depressed, sad individual.
Now, it turns out that you've been looking for distribution and having some trouble finding a distributor, as I understand it, although I might not have all the info at this point.
Yeah.
But ironically, weirdly, this may help you find one.
Yeah, well, I mean, the first thing that struck me was how sad I was about that. And then when it kind of came out that there was more things, you know, going on with the, you know, whatever may have caused the death, you know, I felt better about it, you know, that there were other things besides suicide. I mean, it's very sad anyways, but I was still relieved by it. And then it went through my head that if there was some talk of whether he had killed himself or not, I don't know if I should be talking about this, and he didn't, that it would be a wonderful thing that this movie was around to show that he had the side of him that really did care about the subject. You know, everybody who did our film, Mariel Hemingway and all these other people who have been touched by suicide in their lives. Most everybody, whether they had some interaction with suicide, they felt very strongly about the message and came in and did our film and helped us out. I mean, we couldn't afford a lot, and they came in and really helped us out. And
what was the final budget of the movie?
I'm not quite sure off the top of my head. I mean, it's changed over the edit process and all that. But when we shot it, it was much lower. You know, we had to keep raising money as we were editing it. But at that point, I mean, we didn't really have a lot of funds, and you know, Carradine was one of those people that. So, anyways, that went through my mind, how sad that was. And then the other thing that came to my mind is that, you know, it would be nice. I mean, even if this, you know, sad thing in some way helped spread the message of the film, which ties in directly to exactly what's going on. I mean, just the conversation of it. It hit me. All of a sudden, I realized, you know, even when I had heard the news that he'd hung himself, I mean, I can understand how somebody, if they were in a school somewhere and their friend had killed themselves, what kind of like hopeless feeling that leaves you with, and why there are these like cluster suicides.
Right.
You know, it's so scary when you know somebody who does that, because it's like they gave up on you or something. You know, and I mean, we have a character in our film that. I don't want to go too deep into that, but I mean, there's something very close to that in the film, and yeah, it was quite horrifying. But yeah, I mean, maybe something good will come of it in that way, and certainly my thoughts are with his family and all that. I know he had a big family, and yeah.
So you might take some of the interviews that he did and use them as a kind of message and put them on the internet? Or
yeah,
something?
We have a piece right now that we just did. We're making sure it's right, and we want to make sure the timing's right with it. You know, we.
An outtake from the film or part of the film?
It's actually a piece of documentary footage or behind-the-scenes footage that we shot with him, and he's talking just about why he did the film, and you know why suicide prevention and talking to people about pain is a good thing, you know, and why he did the movie. And then there's this great part where he takes an apple that he had asked for, and he takes this apple and he splits it open with his bare hands, and it's so kung fu, you know. It's so Carradine. We called the piece right now how we remember. What is it? How we remember Carradine, or how we remember him? Yeah, how we remember him, something like that. And it's true. That's how we remembered him. I mean, he was just this really cool, like bright-spirited dude, and he did have a lot of answers, and he has gone through a lot of shit in his life. I mean, this is a guy that at a couple points in his life just went, this isn't working, I have to start over. And he just left all of his possessions and just walked away. And this is a guy who had been through I think a lot of struggles in his life, you know, trying to be a happy person. But in the end, I think he really, you know, found some kind of a happy balance. I hope. I mean, I don't know all the details of his life, but he certainly felt spirited and happy enough to come out and help us out with our film. And did a really good job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course.